Welcome to Horror Movies and Beyond. Today, I'm joined by the stars of comedy horror thriller KILLHER. Let's welcome Jenna Z. Alvarez, MC Huff, and NIcole Lovince. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I just want to say thank you, NIcole, for getting in touch with me about this film because I did hear about it. I got a chance to see it, and I was like, "This is fun. It's funny. It is campy. Like if you're looking for a campy, fun, gory time, this is it."
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for saying yes to the invitation. I remember your name came up when we were doing Scream Fest, and I followed you, and I'm like, I want to circle back and connect with her once things are moving. And when the opportunity came up, once we finally were cleared by SAG, because we're still in the strike right now for the interim agreement for us to be able to promote, you were one of the first people that I reached out to, and I'm like, oh my God, would you be interested in covering this project and speaking with us? So I'm so delighted that it was a yes for you.
I was going to say, it's just so awesome to be able to talk about this project because, we've been so quiet about it for so long with the SAG agreement. I think we all stand very much in solidarity with the decision of the strike. But yeah, you work so hard and put your heart and soul, sweat, love, tears into a project. So it's awesome to be able to talk about it here.
I'm so glad you guys are able to talk about this film because, like I said, it was funny. It brought back some 80s, 90s memories. It does have that feel to it. I was like, is that intentional? Or I'm just old school. I just got that. But as soon as I saw the Polaroid, I was like, okay. So let's get into this. So the story is Mattie and her friends go on a weekend trip to the woods, but things began to take a turn for the worse when secrets are revealed, and they were some hidden secrets that Eddie had, and so we're gonna leave the spoilers at a minimum because I know this is still out in the circuit, so we don't want to go too into that.
Without giving away too much, I think everybody's full of secrets, and the more complicated your past is, I think the more secrets you bring to the table. And Eddie certainly has a very complicated past. So,
yes, it was. You know what? I was expecting, MC. I was so expecting for you to have the short hair.
Yeah.
Because when I heard your voice talking, I was like, she's gonna be with the short hair and everything, and then the long hair. I was like, oh, I was ready for the craziness.
I do love the short hair. I ended up cutting it for the role of Eddie. I thought it really fit her perfectly. Even up until the final chemistry read, I still had long hair, and then after I got the role, I talked to Robin and kind of pitched this idea, and he was all for it. So yeah, it was cool because it was purely created for this life of Eddie. And I love the way a good short haircut looks. So I'm down to go back to it. But yeah, for now it's growing out pretty fast. So
it did match your character.
Yeah.
So NIcole, I have one word for you: raccoons.
I knew it was coming.
Oh my gosh.
Favorite line in the movie ever without giving spoilers, but we also promote it that way. It's kind of all over the KILLHER space. Even with our flyers, we have beware of the raccoons. It's this running thing in the space. So for those of you who've already watched it, you know what's up. You know how to make it down with the raccoons. And for those of you who haven't, you are in for a treat. You will never look at raccoons the same again.
Nope. No, you sure won't. Your character surprised me because she was so innocent, and I was like, she cannot be this clueless of things that are going around. She can't be this innocent. And then she was like, no, I'm not this innocent like you thought I was. I'm gonna get you, Eddie. And then things just play out, and you're like, wait a minute, hold up. This turned a 180 with every single character. Like
Yeah.
it was wild.
I know, especially because we watched the movie on Friday, and it's been 2 years since we filmed it and a year since we watched it. And even I was surprised, like, oh, Mattie girl, what are you doing? Like, don't you see what's happening? And then, like, the turns were happening. I was like, oh, I was just like, what is happening? So it's actually kind of fun to watch it without being, like, in that character headspace, to be honest. So I was right there with you. I was very surprised.
And I think I was going to say one
ahead.
thing too. I think too, like there's been like each screening we've had, I feel like there's been different cuts of it because there were some opening scenes at the top of it that were new for me. I was like, that I don't remember that being in the last cut of it. So I think as we've evolved and like more like people have gotten involved, and once we finally got distribution, and for those of you in the film world, you understand like when production gets involved and like once you get distribution and they're taking a look at all the footage, some things change based on what they think will serve the story. So there were a couple of like extra scenes that I noticed in this one that I was like, that wasn't in there the last time we watched it.
Yeah.
So NC, your character was really interesting. It was the different ranges in the character. I mean, it was like almost every scene was a different person. Was there some kind of influence from maybe different films or something like that?
I certainly watched a lot of films leading up to this, leading up to filming. But I will say I spent the most of my time just in my imagination as Eddie's youth, really growing up with, you know, gosh, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but certain people in the movie I was childhood friends with. So really, yeah, she had a really messed up childhood. And I think somebody who wants love so badly and doesn't get it becomes a bit of a chameleon. So inevitably she has multiple personalities because she's willing to conform around whoever she's with in order for them to like her. So it wasn't like, I'm going to be sweet or I'm going to scream here or I'm going to try to be mean here. It strictly came out of a place of, please love me, please want me. Why isn't anybody being nice to me? So yeah, I feel like a lot of people who have dealt with bullying can sometimes understand that you just get to that breaking point. And a lot of this movie, I feel like Eddie's just at her breaking point.
Yeah, because she was breaking people. Messing them up. Anyway. Next. NIcole, your character had a lot of it was a fun personality. And there was another thing that I noticed as I was watching your character was that she didn't fall in the stereotypical type that we usually see of people of color. And did you give some insight with that character, or that's how it was written on the paper? Because she seemed very natural, but not overplayed.
Yeah, it was definitely on the page and in the conversation with myself, the writer, and the director. And I had the opportunity to come on the project around when they were doing the second table read, and they were still discovering who was going to do what part. And so I just happened to read Ray for the first time at the table read. And once it got to a place where casting and the director and the producers were interested in me being a part of the project, it was like, you know, what character do you align to? And for me, because of the opportunity that that was available for a woman of color to play Ray, and for those of you who have seen it, you understand what we're talking about when it's not the stereotypical trope of what we see of a person of color in horror. For me, it was really important to embody that role and also like not play into stereotype. And there was even a moment when we were on set and there was like a line that I threw out there because we got the opportunity to ad lib a lot, and I said like a stereotypical line that might be in like horror film of like what a person of color would say, and the writer came out of nowhere. He's like, no, we're not doing that. Like that's not what we're here to do. We're not playing into stereotypical spaces. And so for me, it was always in the space between the creators and the creative that we were making something different, and we wanted to give homage to horror, but we also wanted to break certain barriers that were there. So it was definitely something that was cognizant in the space that I present, that the director present, that the writer present, that we wanted to make sure it was in the space, and that was present in this film. So yeah, it was definitely done on purpose.
Okay, because that was like one of the first things I noticed. I was like, wait a minute, this is, I get this, I like this, because you know, as a person of color too, that's all you know mostly see, and this was different, and I really enjoyed your character. So, Jenna,
yes,
hi.
Hello. One thing about your character that I find very interesting, obviously she's supposed to be getting married, and this is like, you know, get together and her friends, but the relationship between you and Eddie, it almost felt like there was more tight relationship, and you would just want to bring her along, and I kind of felt that you knew she was like a little different, but you were trying to accept like maybe she's, you know, but see, I'm about to give it away. No. Okay, I'm not gonna say too much. How was that, trying to balance that innocence and trying to understand that your friend may not be liked, and what was going on with your character that you had to keep it together? But I would have cracked.
Yeah, I think that was a great interpretation of it, and like a great observation of how that character is. For me, I think it was just, you know, the direction that I kept being given is that, you know, I see the good in people. You know, I see the good in Eddie. I see the good in the people around me. Because even with Nikki's character and Emily's characters, Ray and Jess, it's like they also have certain flaws, but it's like, as Mattie, like, I'm supposed to see the good in everyone, including my fiance, Jagger. It's like, for me, it was just, I try to block out the bad and try to bring in the good. And then even when things were starting to get suspicious, it's like, no, still try to hold on to the good. And I feel like me as myself, as Jenna, I also do that. I will see things in my life where I'm like, that seems like a red flag. And I'm like, but no, because why would anyone actually like be like that, you know? So I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt. So I think, especially at that time in my life, I was very much like that. So I really wasn't pulling too far from myself. I'm different now. I'm like, oh, no, it's not.
Are you sure? Are you trying to convince us?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just pretty much like the way that I kind of played that character and wanted to go into it. So.
Okay. Was this film in chronological order, or it was mixed around? Because there were so many. Okay, because when you're watching it, especially when it's like 1 week, and all these things, you really had to pay attention, because it revealed what was really going on. Did any of you, NIcole or Jenna, did any of you or MC watch specific movies, or have movies from the 80s and 90s that was kind of like, I like this vibe? I mean, you don't have to say them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'll go ahead. I grew up loving horror. Like, I was that weird kid that watched scary and occultic type of movies, like, on binge. Like, my dad would take me to the video store every like weekend, and I would get like my movies for the weekend, and I would always get to like horror film, and like Dolly Dearest was like one I would get every single time. Like, I could like recite that movie like verbatim. Chucky was on the list, Pet Cemetery, I think it was Dr.
All good ones.
Yeah, like that. And this is me at like 7, y'all, like like hardcore. And so I always knew I wanted to like get into the horror genre, because like for me, 80s and 90s horror was it for me. And I loved the campiness of it too, and I liked like being able to spot like the killers or not, because for me it's like, even if you do know, you don't know the ride that they're going to take you on, right? And like how things are going to go down. And I think that's what's so enjoyable about Kill Her. It's like, even if you have an inkling to catch on, it's like you don't know what's gonna go down. And like for the characters, for us, we are so oblivious, and that also would add to the comedy, because for the audience it's like, how do you not know? Like, like clearly
doing that.
And that's what you want the audience to be yelling at their TV, why are you walking over there, what are you doing? I will say that's why a lot of people have been describing the film as a roller coaster, because you're really, even like Nikki and you said, even if you figure it out, you're on the ride to figure out how it's going to go down, why it's going down. Like there's still so many other elements of the story other than just figuring out a whodunit sort of situation. And a lot of, so I did watch a lot of like 80s, 90s fun slasher, but I really leaned into films like Kathy Bates in Misery is one of my favorite movies. And she really nails this idea of being obsessed with somebody and loving, like genuinely loving someone and still being able to hurt them. And I felt like that was a huge part of Eddie, is like, even if she's hurting people, that does not mean she doesn't love them deeply. It's just a really messed up situation. And it was funny because I'm not necessarily a method actor where, you know, when we call cut, I'm pretty much out of the headspace, but we were staying up in Big Bear. So we really did have this opportunity to stay in the world, at least the whole time we were filming. And I remember, because I made this life of Eddie so real to me, there were times we were all at lunch and someone would make some off joke about like, oh, Eddie's crazy, and I would get so defensive, like it's because of what happened to her when she was a kid, and like, it's like, whoa, calm down.
In the kills, you know, you didn't see him coming. You did not see him coming the way they came. Like I was like, wait a minute, especially like knocking on the doors, hello. Woo. I was like, what? What? Poor guy. I mean, there was a lot of that, like a lot of things, especially with Jagger. I was like, a lot of like eyes bucking out my head. But I think one of the funniest things that happened was toward the end, and I'm not gonna say, but it was when all this chaos was happening and someone was trying to stop someone from doing something, and they had a shotgun type thing, and I even wrote it down. Hold up. I just thought it was the funniest thing. See, I didn't write the first part because it would give it totally, it would just give it away. But someone was yelling. I'm just very hard not to say because I want to just break. But someone yelled at someone from a distance because someone had a gun. Oh, you know, and he was like, hell yeah. And I just burst out laughing. And then, oh my gosh. And then we have, I mean, it was, what was it? Mattie got someone. Like, Gabber, literally, you didn't see any of that coming. And that was just, that was the great part of that. And it just brought back those old 80s, 90s slasher, campy fun, humorous, people oblivious to things happening. Don't go over here, don't split up, and then people split up, and you know, it was just fun. It was a lot of fun, and I know you guys had a lot of fun doing this, especially with the gore and things like that. So that should have been, that was great. I know it had.
It was a blast to film. I mean, we had very long shooting days, minimum of 12 hours a day. We often went over. We shot this in 12 days, which is crazy. And you think 12 days, but I was thinking about this actually yesterday. There were some days where it started hailing. So the whole ground was covered in white hail. In fact, Jenna was filming a scene where she was, and hail is hitting her in the face, and she's just continuing to act like such a testament. She's like, "Oh no, I'll just keep going. I'm not going to call cut on myself." But we had to finish, you know, filming after half a day because it's like continuity wise, there's hail all over the ground now. So really, we shot this thing in, I don't know, 11 days.
And one of the days we had, what was it, like 52 or 54 setups, which is like like unheard of. And it was like one of the big days where we had all of like a lot of the kill scenes and like action shots, and like we like made it happen in one day with all the like the hair and makeup and the special effects makeup and the special effects itself. It was just like holy crap. And it was just a testament to the cast and crew, because I feel like we had a really rare set where everybody just gelled. There was no like real crazy drama, I would say. I mean, there's always a little something happening on set, but there's always something. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But for the most part, you know, it was a family, it was a tribe, and we got to stay on set, like MC was saying, like on the campsite, which is really rare. And so like that energy that you feel of the fun and the campiness and the roller coaster ride, I think was so much because our energy was so infused into it, because we got to stay on set the entire time we shot. And it was really a bringing together of everybody's gifts and talents, like some of our own clothes as well. Like it was like we were all committed. It was our project, genuinely. From the moment we all said yes, it was ours. We took ownership. Every single one of us did.
Okay. So this is still in the film festivals, right? Or is it in the theater now?
It's out. It's in theater, limited select theaters. We are on Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Vudu, Google Play, everywhere. We're everywhere. And then I think like next year we might get into like being on one particular platform, like a Netflix for a little bit, and then like a Hulu for a little bit. But for right now, it is available for purchase. Rent, I think, is $6.99.
Yeah.
And purchase is $12.99.
Okay. Well, everyone, if you're a horror fan and you love campy 80s, 90s, early 2000s, gory slasher, unexpected twists and turns, this is definitely the film you have to see and put into your collection once the DVD or Blu-ray both come out. You have to, because believe me, like as I was watching this and I was like, how is this going to play out? And believe me, it was a roller coaster. And there were moments where it felt like I didn't even have my seatbelt. I just fell out of the roller coaster because I was like, wait a minute, I didn't see that coming. And I just burst out laughing. It just tickled me because it was so ridiculous of how it happened, but it's so funny. Like it's the way they're in that situation. It's like, they get it. It's so good. So, but I want to say thank you so much, NIcole, Jenna, and MC for coming on here. And like I said, you guys have to run out there, check this film out, and because it is so worth it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like more videos like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment. So until next time, everyone, thank you.